with regards to Rerir, the answer to the question is no. No, he is not dead. Sorry to the Rerir haters. Congratulations to the Rerir lovers. While he may not be alive in any enviable sense of the word, he's not dead because he can't die. Let's not forget, sending Rerir through the Moon Gate was Plan B. After Albedo's tests concluded, Rerir could not die.
Rerir's corpse is completely contaminated by the Abyss, and the effects are irreversible. You could think of this as Rerir in mutated form. But in my view, even that would be inaccurate. In reality, his whole being has been consumed by the Abyss. In other words, he is now nothing more than a manifestation of abyssal power. Unfortunately, at present, we have no means of completely eradicating abyssal power. Hence, we cannot fundamentally destroy the Rerir of Solnari either.
Rerir was torn to shreds the first time he went through the moon gates of Hollow Tholindis, which would kill any normal person, but for Rerir, due to his abyssal powers, the Abyss kept him alive, and he currently exists purely as an abyssal entity, and given we've no way of eradicating the Abyss, he's in essence immortal. Although this does mean, can't the Traveler simply eat the Rerir? They do have a penchant for purifying abyssal power, probably due to the body being able to hold unlimited amounts of it, so why then did the Traveler simply not eat the Wawia? Anyway, further backing the idea that Rerir is going to loop back into the story eventually is this bizarre drip, was it marketing? Whatever the fuck it was, in which Vetterfamiliar states, quote, "Sin has tainted the past and fate rules the future, but his story has yet to reach its end. Rerir's obsession shakes the laws of this world. Such is the power of a sinner." So to put it simply, Rerir is simply making his second trip through a moon gate. Is he going to get torn to shreds again like he was the last time? We'll see if the plot necessitates it. Now, as for Tholindis, this is where things get not just complicated, but bizarre. If the result of anyone going through a moon gate is them getting torn to bits by some physical force,
I have a bold conjecture of my own regarding the world beyond the gateway. I highly suspect that neither Tholindis nor Rerir made it through unscathed. The evidence pointing to this is the fact that the Rerir of Solnari exists in the form of countless fragments.
So your theory is that Rerir was physically torn to shreds by some powerful force? Hence, why the Wild Hunt is a distributed phenomenon, rather than a unified one?
Makes sense to me. Explains why the Wild Hunt is so pervasive, and why he's been trying to piece himself back together. He was whole to begin with, and he wants to be whole again.
Without the power of the Abyss on his side, he almost certainly would have perished the moment he was torn apart. But the Abyss, much like a curse, has kept him alive.
Then she should be dead, as unlike Rerir, she doesn't have the power of crack cocaine keeping her alive. In this instance, Tholindis not making it through the moon gate unscathed should again just mean she's dead. Now, one interesting piece of evidence backing up that she was possibly torn to shreds is the fact that her memory appeared in Rerir's heart fragment, which shouldn't be possible given she has memories that don't involve Rerir. So why are they in his fragment?
How strange. Rerir was nowhere to be seen in that memory. It clearly belonged to Tholindis. Rerir couldn't possibly know what happened if he wasn't even there. Why would her memories appear in his fragment?
A possible explanation for how this came to be: shattered pieces of her intertwined with shattered pieces of him. Regardless, it no doubt has something to do with the fact that they entered through the same moon gate, I think? I mean, we've no idea if all moon gates lead to the same place. The one she opened closed, and then Rerir went back and opened another one. But whether that one took him to the same place it took Tholindis, we've no idea. We don't know if opening one moon gate is the same as opening another. In fact, we know nothing about where moon gates go at all.
But as a Moon Marrow researcher, I desperately want to see the world beyond the gateway. If we really made it there one day, what would we find? And how would we go about taming the unknown?
In the lore of the Frost Moon Scions, the moon is believed to hold many secrets. Some sources speak of ancient knowledge, others of a gateway to the unknown.
Then back to Miss Columbina. As a moon goddess yourself, do you have some idea of where the moon gate leads to?
Not at this stage, sorry. I do hold the power of the Frost Moon, and my strength is recovering well. I can sense that the gate would open at my command, but...
But there's more to the power of the Frost Moon than that?
Yes. A moon goddess has the right to open the moon gate, since it is a path to the moon.
Observations do reveal, however, that whatever lies through the moon gate is vastly different than what we've come to expect of the real universe, which has been shown to us on multiple occasions to be a black and red void, probably meant to be indicative of the dying universe. The moon gate, by comparison, shows fragments of blue in a black void, but if this isn't outer space, then what is it, and what are these fragments? For instance, in the real outer space, we know that these fragments are fragments of the eternal moon, but what about the fragments we see in the moon gates? What areas do we know of that have fragments floating in a blue and black space? If you're a clever bunny, you might remember the Colors Out of Space quest that took us to a location that fits this description entirely, and to get there, we had to go through a gate that's opens made by colors from the moon. So what is this place? We still don't know. No one knows. I still cling to the idea that this might be the lunar palace the Moon Sisters once resided in. Quote, at a far-flung moment in the distant past, the ancestor of Thessaly met a traveler from afar with whom they swore an oath of union witnessed by the three sisters of the lunar palace. As we can see structures and whatnot, and all this stuff is floating, but if this really is a moon gate the traveler went through, then why weren't they physically torn to shreds? Why didn't Paimon go through the moon gates? How'd the moon gate open and sustain itself, given we know moon gates require not just a lot of power to open, but immense amount of power to sustain?
To start with, opening the gateway requires a specific power source, which the relevant literature indicates. An enormous amount of power is then required to keep the gate open.
What world is this beyond the moon gate, Hyperborea or the lunar palace? The answer to all these questions remains blows. Close.